A letter titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was posted to a cryptography mailing list back in October of 2008. The letter contained a new revolutionary idea that was promising to change the financial systems forever. And unfortunately for the most of us, only a select few understood the technology and started supporting the project early on. And as Bitcoin grew, more people recognized it, which led to the network growing exponentially. And eventually, with all of this growing taking place, a problem was starting to become rather apparent. You see, Bitcoin will never be a currency used for everyday trade. Instead, there is another contender which in my opinion needs more exposure and that really not that many people know about. You see, the white paper was titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. But is that really what it has become? But before I tell you anymore, I just want to hedge myself against the frustrated comments that will be flooding into this video and acknowledge the fact that Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency ever that started it all. Like, Bitcoin laid the general foundation that basically every other cryptocurrency is built upon, like the idea of a financial system that is completely decentralized and also the blockchain technology. Bitcoin is also recognized all across the globe, but it's not living up to what it initially set out to be. Because with cash, you can transact with anyone in a matter of seconds and it doesn't cost you a fortune to do the transaction. And with Bitcoin, that is not the case. With a simple transaction taking up to an hour and costing up to $120, Bitcoin has over the years turned into a type of digital gold and a hedge against inflation, rather than a currency used for everyday trade. Because it is simply too inefficient and it has too old technology. Now, there have been many attempts to solve the problem with scalability. For example, we have endless amounts of proof-of-stake coins that are aiming to solve the scalability problem, like Solana and Ethereum. However, the decentralization of proof-of-stake coins is always questionable. There's actually a term called the blockchain trilemma, which was minted by the founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, that says that you can't build a blockchain without compromising one out of the three main pillars that make up the blockchain trilemma. So the first pillar is decentralization, the second one is scalability, and the third one is security. So if you want to be better on one of the fronts, you have to compromise one of the other. So for example, if you want to make it much more scalable and usable for like everyday trade and use, then you have to compromise another one of the aspects, like the decentralization, which is what has happened with many of the proof-of-stake coins. Now, this new cryptocurrency that I'm talking about in this video actually ticks all the boxes in the blockchain trilemma. It's secure, it's scalable, and it's also decentralized. And many of you have probably heard of it before. I've made many videos on my channel talking about it before as well. And I mean, it's not really a small cryptocurrency anymore. It's Kaspa. As many of you probably understood from the thumbnail. I really want to emphasize that it's really worth shedding some light onto Kaspa, because it is exactly everything what Bitcoin set out to be, but with the technology that actually can handle Satoshi's initial vision for Bitcoin. So Kaspa does not really utilize a normal blockchain system. Instead, it utilizes a block DAG system, and you can see the difference here on screen. Instead of just adding one block to the blockchain at a time, the Kaspa block DAG can add multiple blocks simultaneously while still keeping the network secure and reliable. And most of this is doable thanks to the genius minds that created Kaspa. And the founder, Jonathan Sompolinski, is actually one of the contenders that some people think would be Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious founder of Bitcoin. But of course, none of that is confirmed. So with Kaspa, transactions cost less than a fraction of a penny. I believe it's 0.0001 Kaspa per transaction, which is next to nothing. And as of now, the Kaspa block DAG attacks adds 1 block per second, which is extremely much faster than Bitcoin. For example, Bitcoin only adds 1 block per 7 minutes. So when you initiate a transaction using the Kaspa network, you almost instantaneously get the cryptocurrencies on your wallet, which means that it can be used for everyday trade. So really, Kaspa is the real peer-to-peer electronic cash system that does not compromise decentralization or security just to win on the scalability front. It ticks all the boxes and really solves the blockchain trilemma. Keep in mind that there is literally endless amounts of cryptocurrencies out there that are said to solve the problem and that is going to be the next huge thing, but Kaspa actually has real life use cases. For example, the first one and probably the most major point is that Kaspa could actually work as a real life payment system because it is a secure, completely decentralized network that allows you to send Kaspa to anyone, anywhere within a matter of seconds, and it literally costs you a fraction of a penny. So that means that Kaspa could also provide financial services for the parts of the world that are currently lacking at that front. For example, some parts of Africa or Southeast Asia where there aren't sufficient banking systems. That's where Kaspa could step in and solve the problem. And when the KRC20 is released, the smart layer foundation for Kaspa, you will most likely also be able to send stable coins using Kaspa. And that is also fast, decentralized and secure. And I mean, currently today I'm actually using the Tron network for the most of the time when I'm transacting with USDT. And literally every transaction I do cost me about $3 worth of Tron, which is not really that much, but with Kaspa it would literally be not even 1% of that. So in that front, Kaspa will most likely prevail. And when the smart contract platform is deployed, that means that Kaspa will also become a place for developers to develop marketplaces, games, social networks, and really whatever. And that is when the smart contracts are released, and they are said to be released during September. So with that said, there's still opportunity for you to get in and get your share of Kaspa before it literally goes parabolic. Of course, none of this is financial advice. Kaspa could literally hit zero, but it's probably very unlikely. Now, is it really time for Bitcoin to step down? In one sense, yes, I believe so. It's very much outdated technology, but because it has the first mover advantage, it will most likely probably always stay at the top because it has sort of stood the test of time when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And Kaspa was released in 2021, so it still needs to prove itself in the bigger time frame before it can climb higher, in my opinion. There are some people that believe that Kaspa can reach top 3, top 5 during this upcoming bull run. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be impossible, but you also can't be so much in a hurry. Everything good takes time. I believe Bitcoin will never be a currency, or actually it works as a currency if you send someone like 2 Bitcoins to buy a house or whatever, then it works as a currency, but it will never be a currency used to go buy yourself a coffee, because who wants to pay like $100 in transaction fees for buying a $5 coffee? It's not really rational. So Bitcoin, in my opinion, is more like digital gold. You buy it, you store it, and you hedge yourself against inflation. That's the use case of Bitcoin. And I mean, you could also use Kaspa for that, but the meaning of Kaspa is Satoshi's initial vision to act as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Now, before I give my opinion on where Kaspa is going to go in the next couple of weeks or months, I just want to say that if you want to trade using futures or derivatives, I really recommend that you use BTCC, which is an exchange that really is the best when it comes to futures and derivatives, in my opinion. You don't need to do any KYC with BTCC, and that's partly why I like it so much. But if you just want to buy cryptocurrencies and send it out to your own personal cold wallet, then I suggest that you use an exchange like Bybit. And you can also sign up on Bybit using my affiliate link down below. It really supports the channel greatly. Now, when it comes to the price of Kaspa, you really need to look look at everything that's going on in the world, in my opinion. I don't like to look at the moon and see the power laws and say that now Kaspa is going to go to the moon. I'm the type of guy that likes to look at the numbers and see how the economy is performing and also where money is probably going to move. Because as most of you probably know, the federal funding rate is currently at 5.5%, which is actually a lot. And on the 18th of September, the next FOMC meeting, Paul and his buddies will present what type of cut they will do. And the minimum cut that they will do before the end of the year is 25 basis points. And many investors are hoping for a bigger cut than 25 basis points. But with the recent data that was just released this Friday, the market is really anticipating the next move from the Federal Reserve and Powell and his buddies. Because the recent data that was just released was the job market data. So the non-farm employment, the unemployment rate, and also the average hourly earnings, which all indicate that the labor market is actually doing all right. And that means that people in the US are still employed, are still earning money, and are still able to purchase goods and services, which most likely can affect the inflation. So basically everyone is now anticipating the inflation CPI data that is coming out next week. By the way, I'm recording this at the 8th of September, so I don't know exactly when I release this video, but the inflation data might already have come out if you're watching this video in the future. So if inflation goes up once again and the labor market is actually performing all right, there's no need for Powell and the Federal Reserve to lower the federal funds rate. But they have promised a 25 basis point cut before the end of the year, so we at least have that. But many investors are hoping for more. But with the recent numbers that have come out, it is really much uncertainty regarding the US economy, which leads many investors to favor risk-off investments, which means that money will most likely flow out from the crypto world and into more safe investment like bonds and boring stuff. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not looking really that bright for the general crypto market, but also before we really have not seen what has happened in the past, because now it's different. Now Bitcoin is subject to Wall Street because it has the spot ETFs that make Bitcoin directly subject to Wall Street, and basically every other cryptocurrency is subject to Bitcoin, which means that if Wall Street goes down, Bitcoin goes down, and also the rest of the crypto world. I hope that makes sense. But I guess we'll see. In the grand scheme of things, things are not looking too bright, but that will just mean it's another opportunity for you to stack up on more Kaspa and load it up before it literally goes to the moon. Now, I haven't uploaded a video in a while, especially where I talk about Kaspa, but I'm going to start uploading more videos and more frequently talking about Kaspa, the overall market view, and just give you my general analysis. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and please like the video. And if you have any comments or any ideas that you want to bring up, please leave them down below in the comments as well. Now, if you own some Kaspa or really whatever other cryptocurrency, make sure that you store them safely. I can't emphasize this enough. You really don't want to be waking up one day to realize that all your crypto is stolen because you stored it on an online wallet. So you can purchase a cold storage Tangem hardware wallet using my link down below, or you can use the code Tashi when checking out to save 10% on your purchase. I think that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.